which was thwarted by the government after soldiers appeared on national television early Sunday morning claiming to have seized power. A group of at least 8 soldiers, led by Lieutenant Colonel Pascal Tigri, stormed the country's state television, announcing the removal of President Patrice Talon and the dissolution of all state institutions. The soldiers, identifying themselves as Military Committee for Refoundation, declared the suspension of the Constitution and all political party activities until further notice. They also claimed to have closed the country's borders, resulting in unrest in parts of the country, with a group of demonstrators chanting "Down with Talon" and expressing support for the mutinous soldiers. Well, barely 12 hours after gunfire first rang out in several neighborhoods in Cotonou on Sunday, Benin President Patrice Talon announced that the coup had been thwarted, stating that the country's armed forces and National Guard remained loyal to the Republic, asserting that they stood firm, recaptured their positions, and cleared all resistance held by the mutineers. 14 people have been arrested in connection with the coup attempt. Well, this attempted coup adds Benin to a growing list of West African nations facing military takeovers. The timing of the coup is significant. Benin is preparing for a presidential election in April that would mark the end of President Talon's tenure after 9 years in power since 2016. And I'll take a post on X from Delta Wire. He wrote, "This trend will keep reoccurring amongst African states unless there is a massive international revolution that compels our leaders to start governing with fairness and equity until they start utilizing resources of the state for the welfare of the people. Africans will keep rising every day in whatever form, shape, or nomenclature until the people start seeing the dividends of democracy. They'll keep being rebellious. African leaders are the problem, and they evolve from amongst us. We're all culpable on this." Well, amid reactions to the failed coup attempt, the coup leader, Pascal Tigri, reappeared in a video which went viral on Sunday, stating that they undertook the mission to free Benin from the dictatorship of President Talon before going on to caution France to stay out of their internal affairs. Well, ECOWAS released a statement on X condemning the coup, describing it as an unconstitutional move, while Nigeria's Ministry of Foreign Affairs stated that they stand in firm solidarity with the government and the people of the Republic of Benin. Subsequently, at the request of President Talon, Nigeria sent Air Force fighter jets and ground troops to take over Benin's airspace and help dislodge the coup plotters, eliciting more reactions. There was a statement that was sent out by Bayo Ononuga. If we can take that statement, he wrote, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has commended the gallantry of Nigeria's military on Sunday for responding swiftly to the requests by the government of Benin Republic to save its 35-year-old democracy from coup plotters. Well, he went on to state that the Nigerian government acted on 2 separate requests from the government of Benin. First, by ordering fighter jets to enter the country and take over the airspace to help dislodge the coup plotters. And secondly, the authorities in Benin requested the deployment of Nigerian Air Force assets within Beninois airspace for surveillance and rapid intervention operations under Benin-led coordination, with Nigeria's Chief of Defense Staff, General Olufemi Oluyode, confirming that all the requests had been fulfilled And, you know, I wanted to take that response from an ex-user. I'll take that response after I hear from you. I'd love your comments about what has been going on so far with the fact that, you know, the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, had, you know, responded to this coup attempt swiftly. And the word swiftly had to be highlighted, really. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Okay, so a number of things this morning. Number one is that Benin Republic is about the same age as Nigeria in terms of independence, gaining independence. Benin Republic gained independence on the 1st of August 1960. However, as you can tell, they haven't been able to fully enjoy the dividends of the democratic system of government they've adopted, you know, since gaining independence. And this, you would see the trend across different countries on the African continent, and particularly the West Africa region, whereby there have been a number of coups. In the Republic of Benin itself, only less than a year ago, 2 close associates of the president were indicted as, you know, a coup was foiled, and 2 close associates of the president were indicted and handed 20 years imprisonment for the attempted coup. A little over a year afterwards, we are now seeing another attempt of a coup. A number of things could have been said would be responsible, OG. Number one, of course, is the lack of strong institutions, the fact that the people do not believe that they are enjoying the dividends of democracy. Only last month, the president had, through the rubber stamp assembly, extended the tenure of presidency limits from 5 years to 7 years. And this was said to be preparing the grounds for his anointed candidate in the next cycle of election, which is meant to take place next year, April of 2026. So these are some of the factors that some people have highlighted as a reason for why their agitations and a small group of influential people, as was described by the Foreign Interior Minister, have come together now to announce this coup. Thankfully, Nigeria rose up to the task as big brother. Dr. Bati said something earlier this morning, which I agree with, because I actually took note of that when it happened. Because one of the reasons, and number one, is Nigeria showing up as a big brother and still that influential force on the West African bloc. But also, very importantly, to sound a note of warning, because we have seen copycat coups along the West African region that anybody, group, individual that wants to think or has thoughts around this kind of move should know that Nigeria would respond and respond swiftly. That we have a military that's able to counter any kind of coup attempt and would block it. Now, there have been conversations around the legality of Nigerians' movement, and there's been a broad conversation around this. But we'll see whether or not the president will transmit a letter to the Senate before 12 noon, as the deadline given, to be able to let, you know, to express his invasion, as it were, or help, because they said he received a letter. But again, what people are saying is that, so Nigeria is strong like this.
And let me tell you,
we should be able to do this. I want that same swiftly to be given to the way, you know. Of course, we know that terrorism is complicated. It's more complicated than this. But there are some certain areas. It means that we can swiftly arrest the bandits in the forest. We can swiftly get all these kidnappers. Nigeria has the power to do this. Let us do it.
Let me take the tweet about the idea of how Nigeria can swiftly respond.